Trivia's Inspirational Radio would like to inform you that the views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in the following show are solely the sentiments of the participants of the show. Trivia's Inspirational Radio Network is not responsible for content. As always, thanks for watching and enjoy the show.
All right, guys. Happy Tuesday. And if you guys are tuning in to She Said Yes to Herself, then you guys know that I am here with some of my absolute faves on the planet. So just from right to left, I'm going to say their names really quickly, and I'm going to allow each of them to introduce themselves. So we have the amazing Dr. T.R.I.V.I.A Payne up in the corner. We have the fabulous, sensational Laquita Parks. We have the mesmerizing and so talented Dr. Velma Bagby. And of course, we got my girl, Jacqueline Cox. I'm going to just put some stank on that because the girl's amazing. And we have the phenomenal, sensational Takia Gaither. So let's just give everybody a big round of applause. I am so excited that you guys are here on today. Everybody around the room, in the order that I called you, Trivia would go out, so I can't say her. So Laquita, again, introduce yourself to everyone and tell us a little bit about yourself, Laquita.
Well, hello, Chanelle. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Laquita Parks, and I am the CEO and founder of T.R.I.V.I.A Publishing. And T.R.I.V.I.A is pain, progress, victory, because I believe without pain, there's no progress. And without progress, there can be no victory. So I absolutely love helping people take their stories from a thought to a realization. Everybody has a story. And as we go on day by day, we have all seen everything that's going on in the world. We have got to create the narrative. We've got to create those stories. We've got to leave the legacy. We've got to tell it from our viewpoint and not somebody else's viewpoint. Tell the truth as we know it. Glorify God as we know it. And let our stories be heard. Let our voices be heard. And that's I'm all about the story. I'm all about the story. Tell your story. And that's what I stick to. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Chanelle.
Well, thank you, the amazing Laquita Parks. Now we're going to switch back to Dr. T.R.I.V.I.A Payne. Trivia, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Good evening. I am T.R.I.V.I.A Payne, Baltimore, Maryland, born and raised, author, teacher, and so many other things. But most of all, I am a child of God, just looking to serve the kingdom.
Big energy. Okay, I mean, this next person is not going to disappoint us. So, Dr. Velma Bagby, please just told out a little bit of some things on that resume. Who are we saying hello to on this evening, Dr. Velma?
You on mute, Dr. V.
You got to take your mute off.
That was the test. I am Dr. Velma Bagby, and that is the problem. We have been on mute for a long time among believers. We have been on mute as it relates to dating and relationships. We have been on mute telling women they should get married and men they should get married, but not providing them with the tools to do so. We've been on mute in terms of all the problems that's plaguing us when we are the people that were given the tools to enjoy successful marriages. So how do I bring that back? And then sitting in pre-marriage counseling sessions where people will ask, how do you fix this problem? You're sitting there thinking, well, first of all, the big problem is that you're marrying the wrong person. So all of that has led me to this place. How do I communicate out what we've already been given to use? And so therein lies my recent project, and that is the catch no one wants. The Wrong Catch, which is the 15th book that I've written and released this year. So I'm excited. I'm a dating and relationship certified dating and relationship coach. I'm an ordained minister. I am a speaker. I'm a business leader, worked in business and state government for 38 years. And I'm excited to be able to share what I know, what I experience. And I've been married to a pastor. And right now we have 49 years in. So I know what I'm talking about. And this is not something fictitious. And so I am excited to be able to share what I can to help others experience the same joy.
I'm loving it. She said, I got the receipts. I got 49 years
Come on,
in. You can't argue with that. 49 years, blissful years. Thank God for the marriage. All right. Now, Jackie, don't disappoint. You got to follow
Come
up
on,
on
Jackie.
Dr. V. No easy feat, but go ahead and jump in.
I am just a humble servant of the Lord. I just come to just humbly just give myself to him and to just try to stay on the right path and continue my journey to just be the best wife and mother that I could possibly be. But until I reach the finish line,
Okay.
I got this little show called Listen Linda that come on this
Okay.
network, okay? And I ask the questions that nobody want to ask. So that show is called Listen Linda. I'm a radio TV host for that. I got my book, It Can't Always Be Night, Poetic Memoirs of a Grown Girl. I got another book coming out called Mountains. I'm married to a wonderful man named Mr. Sergeant Marvis Cox. I have 5 wonderful children, 2 of them that own their own clothing line called Young Safe Leaders. Um, I am a youth advocate, lupus advocate, and a thyroid cancer survivor. And I am just a author for T.R.I.V.I.A Publishing, but I am also the featured author in this new anthology that's coming out. But we're going to talk about that a little later, y'all. We're going to talk about that. But that's
I'm
who I am.
loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. You see, she done brought some big energy on tonight. And ladies, last but certainly not least, we have Takia Gaither. Takia, why don't you go ahead and drop some creds from your resume and let us know who we're talking to on this evening.
I mean, coming after all that, I gotta fix my elevator pitch because I don't have none of that happening. But I
She
am
is being so
Takia
modest
Gaither,
right now.
editor and author of the Ready Write Her. So Laquita publishes everybody's story. Jackie gets people to talk about the questions. I make sure they read well when they get them out into the world, because the worst thing to do is pick up a poorly written book. I can't stand it. It gets on all my nerves. I'm a retired educator, now turned editor and author. I'm also an international TEDx speaker as of this past March. And I am actually having my first book launch party this Friday, because I took all of my experiences from the last 20 some odd years and put out 3 books that were supposed to come out sequentially, but God said no, they can all come out at the same time, and so they will. And one of them is about being a Christian woman in an abusive marriage, which does not get talked about in church ever, because everybody, like the good doctor says, they tell you to get married, they tell you to pray and stay, but prayer, yes, but stay is questionable in a whole lot of people's situations. And so that's me in a nutshell.
Come on now. Come on,
Takia.
Now, I don't know if you guys are friends with Takia, but when I tell you I was living my life vicariously through Takia, watching all the amazing things she was doing over there in Africa, I'm like, I need to go to Africa. I'm just compelled that that's where I'm supposed to be going. But I just got to live a little bit of that through Takia. So thank you. What you guys might not know about Takia is she did this first editing for this book right here. She said yes to herself. Unapologetically, the empowerment guide for women. So, Takia, let me ask you our first set of questions on tonight. You got her in her bare bones and all of her flaws, her scars, her things that she needs to cover up. And so, what was that process like for you doing that first round of edits, trying to getting it ready so that it can, get pushed towards getting towards release? What was that like?
It was a really good experience. So I like to tell people, like, I edit books like I'm like the reader. Like, I want to read it like somebody picking it up to buy it. So I don't automatically go through looking for the red pen stuff. But the teacher in me will go and fix stuff because that's just what I do while I'm reading anything. But I read it like a fan first. And so I'm reading it. I'm like, yeah, this is a good point. I'm sitting around and I'm supposed to be editing, mind you, but I'm looking for a pen. So I'm like, I need to take notes. Like, I need to write this down. I need to jot this one down. But it was so good to get into. And she Chanelle talked about so many different topics, and it was just a well-rounded piece of work. It went from all the things: life, family, marriage, divorce, babies, jobs, entrepreneur. It covered the whole gambit of things that a lot of times, we say yes to, but it might only be part of a yes or a piece of a yes, or we say yes and we think it's the whole yes, and then you don't realize what all is involved with that yes. And then not just the yes itself, but people don't realize yeses cost something. And so there's
Girl.
loss associated with these yeses. We done said yes, but in the process of saying yes, we had to say no to some stuff too, or some stuff said no to us. Um, and so her book highlights all of those things. And so when you read it and the activities and they're thought provoking, and I'm sending her back stuff like, I think we should do this question this way. Is this going in the workbook or is this one staying in the book? And we going back and forth about what should go where, because the questions were so profound and the responses. And I'm reading, I'm like, let me write down my answer to this one, because I need to think about this a minute for myself. But it was such a beautiful, beautiful piece of work to work with. And I've not yet gotten my final copy, ma'am. So,
Okay, so let me say this disclaimer, because Jackie got me in trouble a couple of weeks ago. Jackie was like,
I don't regret
me.
it one bit.
And did get her in trouble, and did, because I was like, hold up now. Wait a minute.
Because Jackie, she like that little sister that gets you in trouble. You be like, I didn't even do nothing. It's Jackie fault. So Jackie calls me. She's like, hey, send me a copy of the book. Like, I need it now. I'm like, okay, I got this really amazing idea. I'm gonna do a gift box. Dr. V, I was looking at your gift box. I said, okay, I'm gonna do a gift box. I wanted to do one. I was asking questions. I got all this wonderful idea. Jackie's like, no, I need one right now. I need it today. I'm like, Jackie, I have this whole plan that I'm supposed to be doing. She's like, no, send it today. I need it. It gotta get here today. So what did I do? I did it today. I sent it. And then I'm like, oh, now I done got in trouble with everybody because I did it the way. But I have a whole plan.
A big sister.
Just know that I have book boxes that are coming with you guys' names on it and some trinkets.
Hey, I called her right on her way to school, so it ain't her fault. She was half asleep, half hungry, and I was like, "Look, can you just do it?" And I bothered about it, but she said, "Okay, just get off my phone." I'm asleep.
Well, you got her in trouble because I was like, excuse me, ma'am. How is it that the publisher does not even have a copy of the book? I need an autographed copy from the author. How is it that the publisher does not have one? Now, I've read the story. I've read the book, of course, but that's just the proof. And I need an autographed copy. So I'm like, wait a minute. She was like, what had happened? What had happened?
I'm on Facebook, like, gee, with my copy.
It was all Jackie's fault, but I guarantee you, everybody is getting their gift box with the book and some other trinkets included. So
and
it'll
me
be
too.
perfect.
I'm getting that too.
Yeah. You still trying to get me in trouble, ain't you, Jackie?
I'm only 2 hours away, so my package gonna ride.
She don't get nothing else. She should have waited.
She should have waited.
She should have waited. She don't get nothing else.
That brings me to a very powerful point that Takia already hit on, is your yes is going to cost you something. So when you look at your life right where you are at this moment, that moment when you did say yes, what were some things that your yes cost you? And a yes is very necessary, and a yes requires a buy-in. There is something that you're going to have to sacrifice in order to receive and take advantage of that yes. I just kind of want to start in the room. I'm going to ask Jackie first. What did your yes cost you?
My yes to myself or to other people?
To yourself.
Oh, it didn't. My yes to myself was free. And the reason why I say free, because it cost me friends that weren't really friends. People who are takers and not givers. And it cost me I really gained. To me, I just feel like I gained more than I lost, if that makes sense.
Makes
My
sense.
my yes was very expensive, but it was expensive. It was a expense that I was willing to take, and I'm still
Mm.
willing to take to this day. Um, I just believe if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, and I have to stand for myself because through my journey, going through what I went through in my life, I feel like I'm my own advocate first. So it's God and then it's me. And if I can't take care of me, like you say, you I can't pour from an empty cup. And I became so empty and so dry and so dehydrated. So I almost didn't make it to 34. And from what these doctors telling me now, I almost didn't make it to 35. And that's because I was putting everything into everybody else and making sure everybody else was okay. So that stops. That stopped last month and the month before that. And it's not gonna start back up again. So no, my yes, it didn't cost me nothing. It cost everybody else. And it
Mm.
cost them me, which was the most expensive thing that they could ever lose in their life. And that's me because I'm a real one. So if I feel like if you're not genuine, stay out my life. And the Lord gives me discernment, and he shows me who's for me and who's not for me. And for the people who's not for me, they know they lost the real one because I always was a good person, and I'm going to continue to be a good person, but only to the people that's good to me.
Well, excuse me. Put some stank on it then. Trivia, same question. What did your yes cost you?
Nothing yet.
Nothing yet.
I'm still saying yes to myself, but it ain't
You,
costing me anything.
it's not costing you nothing. Okay,
It's
it's
not
not
costing
costing
me
you nothing.
anything.
All
It's going
right.
to give me a peace of mind, but it ain't costing me anything.
Mm. Mm. Okay, Dr. V, same question.
My yeses came at different levels and different places and stages in my life. So it depends on what particular area I focus on. My yes might look different. My yes in my marriage to last as long as we have was to say yes to us, which meant I lost single friends because it's very difficult to be in a marriage relationship with single friends to understand your marriage relationship. In some cases, they don't. And so along the way, my yes to our relationship, our marriage meant losing them, both my husband and I. And I said, well, you know what? If we had friends that chose to leave, then that's the way it ought to be. Sometimes they choose to leave, sometimes you tell them to leave. So yes to my relationship meant that. Yes to what I'm doing now. I had to say yes to God first and then say yes to what he says I am to do because I was a little nervous to step out and do what I'm saying, what I'm talking about, and what I've been called to do. There must be a reason I've been blessed to have the number of years we've had in our marriage. There must be a reason that I was exposed to a lot of single women as I ministered in terms of their challenges and their problems. There must be a reason for all of that. And that's what brought me here. So I had to say, yes, okay, God, if this is the route, this is the lane you want me to stay in, then I will take this lane. You lead me in a plain path, and I know I won't stumble. But I had to say yes to him first because it wasn't me saying yes in the beginning. I didn't see this happening. I wrote one book in 2018. I'm now book 15. That was not my path. I
Mm.
left my career. I did a lot of writing. I designed workshops. I designed training. I did a lot of that stuff. I wasn't ready to write nothing. But God says there was a plan he had for my life. And that one book that I wrote at the urging of my two daughters to tell about our conversations about men, it began there. And I didn't realize that was the beginning of my saying yes, because there was more for me to write. And so it wasn't easy. And I know my daughters sometimes ask me, you know, Mom, you just seem so strong sometimes. I don't know how you got that way. I said, girl, it cost me.
Mm-hmm.
All of the things I can tell you more, like Jacqueline talked about, friends that had to leave, people you had to get out of the way. It costs you when you make a decision to take the path that God has given you to write and to share. It costs because there are people that can't go with us. There are people that are not healthy for us. Uh, and sometimes I've gone through the refiner's fire where God has to burn off what he can't use. He's taking you to something higher, but sometimes along the way, you have to suffer a little bit for him to burn off only what he cannot use, because on the other side of it, and that's what I've learned, on the other side of that fire is something great that he's moving me into. I'm in the fire right now. You can't see me burning right now, but I'm on fire. There's flames all around me right now, going through it with pain in my shoulder. And I'm sitting here, but I'm in pain. And so I know you know what I'm talking about, Laquita, because you could write a book about it, as you have. I haven't written a book, but I'm just saying, my first experience, I wrote a book called A Place Called Down. And that's what I was talking about. When God takes you to that place, and you know that nobody understands but you, everybody else's life is revolving and going around and moving, and you're like stuck, and you're like wondering what's going on with my life right now. But all of it cost. And I count up the cost, knowing that God had a plan. He has a process before he moves you into his purpose. And that's the cost. So I had to say yes, because I've never been a student to repeat a test, and I am not repeating none that God sends across my path. I want to pass and move on. So that's my story.
I'm telling you. Now that's powerful, because if you don't get that test right with God, you're going to see that test again and again and again until you pass it, right? Yep. You can't cheat the system. I love it. That is so powerful, so profound. Laquita, I have to ask you a different question though. So I
have my answer already ready. Go ahead.
I know. I'm totally flip the swing. I'm gonna come back to that. We're gonna come back to that. So Laquita, taking a book or a story from thought to realization is what you really kind of build your whole life and your business around, is helping people convey powerful stories. And you did help me publish this book, and I want to thank you for that. I want to thank Takia for her part that she played in editing. But the book is what's inspired the whole idea for the She Said Yes to Herself Summit. It takes a daring person to step out into an idea and see something that can't be seen. Like, way over there in the distance, can you see the blue skies, and can you see the stream and the foundation? It looks all dazzling, and all these wonderful structures that are being built on it, but there's nothing there. Most people looking like, girl, no, I don't see that. What you talking about? Laquita had the ability to see what I was saying to her when it was nothing, when it was just a thought. And I really kind of came to her in the midst of a crisis, like, I'm upset. Things are not quite going the way I anticipated. And instead of thinking of, okay, shucking the whole idea, let me go into my lemonade shop so I can try to add some sugar to this sour experience. And so when I come out, I tell Laquita, okay, we want to do this summit. We decided to talk about doing this summit. It was maybe a month and a week at the most. Just unheard of. We didn't have any of the pieces together. Constructing and building it from top to bottom in about 4 weeks, maybe 4.5, no more than 5 weeks. And just being able to work on it. Laquita, what really helps you to have the insight that you have on a project? And what was it about this project that really kind of resonated with you for you to be able to see something that most people wouldn't have seen? They'd have been like, oh, no, I don't see that. That's what you're saying.
You know what? First of all, I have to believe in the vision. And for me, I used to hear people say, you're a visionary, and I didn't know what that meant. And I didn't see myself as such. But with my programs, my youth program, my mentoring programs, I would line people up and say, okay, I want to do this. And there would be people to say, well, you can't do that. You can't do that. And so those were not the people for me. Right. There were people who came into the picture. And there was one lady in particular, and all she said was, well, how are you going to do this? And I said, I don't know, but I know this is what I want to do. Don't know how I'm going to get there, but I know it's going to get there. And I remember her trusting my vision. Mm. And when she brought somebody in and she said to them, she does not need you to tell her what to do. She doesn't need you to tell her anything. She already knows what she wants to do. She just needs you to help her get to that point. And so with you, Chanelle, number one, You showed me to be the person that I saw on the virtual platforms. We see people, I know Dr. V on the platform, Trivia on the platform, but you showed me that when I saw you face to face, I got the same vibe, the same feeling. And I'm like, we girlfriends. This is my sister.
Mhm.
So your vision aligned with my thoughts. And so it wasn't my vision, but my responsibility or my duty was to help you to bring it to fruition. And because see, God didn't give that vision to me. He gave it to you, but he put me there to guide you and help you get to where you needed to be. And I believe in it. I believe in she said yes, just like I did from day one. The first time you talked, when you opened the door. I believe that. So for me, it helps to believe in the project. And everybody who knows me knows that I'm very, very particular. I say it 100 million times. I'm very, very particular with who I connect with. And when you show me differently, then I move away. There are people who I connected with and things were good in the beginning and I saw something different and I immediately said okay, and I went to the person and said, listen, I cannot rightly stay in here because I'm disagreeing with what you're doing and I have people involved in this, so I have to back out. So with she said yes to herself. It's a beautiful, 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 beautiful vision. And it is a necessary vision. It is a vision where I could be me and the God that's in me can shine. And I can also say who I am and show who I am. I don't have to wave a white flag and say, hey, look at me over here. I'm a Christian. It should be seen in my walk, how I'm walking, how I'm talking, how I'm handling people. There should be nobody second guessing. They should not see something different. And so with you, Chanelle, when you came to me with the she said yes to her, look at Jacqueline actions at just
I
the
know,
baby,
right?
just the baby, just showing off, showing off. When you came and said, hey, you know what? I have this idea. And I was right there with you because we were in the trenches together because I was disappointed for you. I wasn't happy with it. I was like, okay, how dare this happen to you? What in the world? And so
I was mad too, and I wasn't
it,
even there.
it just felt right. And it gave me an opportunity to connect. Sometimes our paths cross. God allows our paths to cross, but God has allowed our paths to connect. And there's a difference between crossing and connecting. So, that, as they say, the black women authors was one thing. That was a little thing, but that wasn't the solidifier. She said yes, it's the solidifier. So I'm just glad that I was in the right place and at the right time where I was able to say yes. And also, and it taught me how to say yes to myself. And there is, and I know you didn't ask me this question, but since I was
Go
dying
ahead.
to answer the question, I was listening to everybody else's answer. I was dying to, I
Go
had
ahead, Quita.
there is sacrifice for me. My
Mhm.
yes has been a sacrifice, because it has meant having to, and I agree, Dr. Velma. I do relationship communication coaching, and it is a sad, sad set of affairs when a single person does not understand that they have no place in married people's business. And so I talk to people like that. I have my best friend is married, and I respect the fact that she has a husband. So when she tells me, hey sis, I have to call you back, I'm not stressed. I'm like, okay, whenever you can. I understand that she has a marriage, she has a husband, she has a family. I understand when it's dinner time. I understand she has to prepare food. I understand that when they're going to some place, there's no place there for me, but they still welcome me like I'm a part of a family. There has to be respect. And there are sometimes single people don't understand that. And it's not, and shame on the people, Dr. Velma, who felt that they needed to leave the fold and not be a part of your life, because there's learning there. So I understood that. And the sacrifice too was because of my pain. As I get older, there are some things that I cannot say yes to, no matter how hard I want to. And I say yes when I should say no, and that yes cost me. It cost me physically. It cost me emotionally. I had to say yes to take a job that I didn't want to take because my medical situation dictated that. And there are people who were saying, "Oh, if I were you, I wouldn't." Y'all know how I feel about that. You know, people think if you say yes, then you're not trusting God enough. Well, how do they know that God has not directed me in this way to be able to do those things so that I won't have to continue to struggle and suffer in a way that I've been doing? So there has been a sacrifice for my yes, not one that I regret. Now, the lessons, I can't beat the lessons. I appreciate the lessons because they brought me to where I am. And the lessons that I repeat are the ones that I didn't get the first time. And I'm trying not to keep doing them same lessons. And sometimes I have to go in my prayer shower. I said prayer shower because water has to be involved, and pray and ask God to help me get better, help me get stronger in the midst of my circumstances so that my walk can match my talk. There are so many people talking, they talking, they talking, but their walk is not matching the talk. I don't want to be that person. When somebody clicks on and they see me talking, then when they come to Atlanta, they're going to say, "Hey, that's Laquita. That's the same person, the same environment, the same energy, the same person that we see on the Facebook, on the social media." So it is a sacrifice. And I've lost friends. And guess what, Dr. V and Jacqueline? I've been okay with that. Cause I'm like, they were stressing me. You ever have friends that stress you and you don't know why they stressing you? Your stomach all bubbling, my stomach bubbling, your stomach all bubbling, and you having some palpitations and you don't quite know why. It's because that friend is stressing you and you don't know how to say no because you don't want to hurt their feeling, but they don't mind hurting your feeling. So I've had to say no to some friends, and they said no to me because when you start walking in Christ, they say no anyway. And lastly, I said yes to myself in 2008 when I was baptized into Christ. When I was baptized, when I obeyed the word by the word, and I have no regret. And I enjoy living my life in the way that God said live it. Not perfect, but I'm perfect in my efforts. I'm perfect in my practice. So it's a sacrifice. It's not one that I regret. And there are going to be more sacrifices. It's a sacrifice sitting here. And Dr. V, I know the pain. I have a roller, and I think that was you, Chanelle. Laquita, did you make your roller? Did you make your pain roller? Chanelle told me that the other day. I have to send you one, Dr. V. She was like, "Did you make your pain roller?" I was like, "Chanelle, my back is hurting me so bad." She said, "Did you make your pain roller?" And what did I say? I was like, "No, I didn't." And she stayed on the phone while I got up and I went into my little oil basket, my oil, my oil section, and pulled all the ingredients and made it and put it. And she was like, "Do you put it? Is it by your bed?" And I tell you, it works. It works. It really does. It really does. So thank you. That's all my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I just want to say again, thank you, thank you, thank you for seeing the vision in it. Now, I want to see how you ladies, because you've read She Said Yes to Herself Unapologetically, the Empowerment Guide for Women, just kind of like a free for all. Does anybody have a takeaway they want to give from out the book? Anything from the book or the summit that She Said Yes to Herself Unapologetically, a takeaway that you have?
I'll start. Um, the one takeaway that I have, I mean, it's many, but the one takeaway that I have is life is going to hit you. You're going to experience stuff. You're going to make decisions that are not always the best decisions. But what are you going to do with the after? And it's bigger than saying yes. It's bigger. It's bigger because you have to recognize the things that you allow and accept so that you can say yes. But if you don't recognize it, then you're going to continue to walk in that pattern. But once you recognize this is where my challenge is, you can walk differently.
I love it. I love it. Takia, what about you? Was there a takeaway that you have from She Said Yes to Herself Unapologetically?
I think one of the biggest things that stood out for me is the way that you handled telling the story about losing your daughter. And the amount of, you could feel the sad, but you could also feel the uplift that came with it. And not uplift because she's not here, but just walking through that whole situation and coming out on the other side of it. And, I I have not had that experience, but my best friend has. And so from reading your story, and then it was around the same time she was like kind of reliving hers. And so she sent me her book, and it was the first time I had actually seen the whole story of what actually happened to my godson. And then it brought back to mind your story, and I was like, man, these are some powerful women, because I can't imagine it. I could feel it all, but you just handled it with such care and such grace that any mother who's gone through that experience can feel what you felt, but also feel the release and the, not so much that it's gonna be okay, but it's going to be okay. It's the God's got me, and I'm here, and I'm making it, and I'm gonna do what I need to do. And yes, grief is real, and grief is still here, and I still have my days, and I don't ignore it, but I'm all right. And I think that's the side that more people need to see and understand, because they just kind of get stuck in grief, and like it's ebbs and flows. But the way that you discussed it let people know, yes, I have my days where this is where I'm at, but I have other days where I'm all right. I'm doing life. I'm doing me. I'm able to move on. And for me, that's important, because a lot of people just get stuck in how to grieve well. And I know everybody has their own process, but I always feel like there's a healthy way to do it and an unhealthy way to do it. And so many people stay on that unhealthy side that it makes it hard to talk to them about the healthy side. So that was the one thing that stuck out for me, is that I could see your healthy grief coming through. And I could see the part where you said, you know what, this was completely unhealthy. I didn't want to get out the bed. I just wanted to stay here. And that was it. But those honest conversations are the ones that we need to have, because we don't have them enough. And so nobody knows how to deal with stuff, because just like Laquita said, people think you say yes to the Lord and it's all rainbows and butterflies and you don't have no problems and nothing else happens and all this other, I don't know where they got that stuff from. It ain't even in the movie. So it's just completely made up. Like, but just being able to read through that process, I was just like, but I feel empowered by the time she got to the end of it. And so if it empowered me and I haven't had that experience, I know that anybody who has should feel 10 times more than what I felt. So that was my big takeaway.
All right, amazing. Jackie, what about you?
I'm still taking away gems from it. Let me tell you, from the summit to the book, I've been dealing with a lot of issues, especially since I've been saved. Now, God has always had me covered, and I've always been a child of God. I was raised in a church, raised in multiple churches from different foster parents or what have you, and my grandmother as well. So I've always been raised by strong Black women. I've always had an awe and sort of like might as well say like a healthy obsession with strong Black women. I've always looked up to strong Black women. But since I've been saved and trying to do right, like Takia say, and like Laquita say, it's not butterflies and rainbow. That's actually when the devil try to come. He come when he see that you trying to do the right thing and try to attack. But, it's something about every day I get up, I tell you, I say I got Redefine Beauty, I got the Bible, and I got She Said Yes to Herself. And literally, like I've had insecure days where I have to pick up that book and read things to make myself feel better. I read my Bible. I do what I'm supposed to do with that. But even when I feel like that's not enough, it's always good to have a piece of literature or something there to just help you empower yourself. And I think like with the story about you losing your child, girl, it had me in tears because I've lost a couple. And to see, your reaction to it, and like you say, you were suppressing it for so long, and then for your baby to say, mama, we need you too. Like that just that did something to me. But what I took away from it was not just how you was able to maneuver those things and overcome those things, but just to show me myself, like, you know what, this lady is so strong and powerful, and a woman of God, and just and she's taken everything that she has went through and she packaged it up into this beautiful box and say, you know what, I'm a gift this to all the women who've been what I've been through, and didn't see it out, to show them how to take what they're going through and then find scriptures in the Bible to match those things, to give them even more empowerment to say, you know what, God gonna bring you through this. It's already written, it's already set in stone. And just take what all the trials and things that you went through and show them a way out. And that's what, and it's showing me a way out to this day. um Same thing with Laquita's book. Her book, her self-empowerment book that she sent me. Y'all just don't know. Like somebody like me, that helps. It helps me a lot. So I'm appreciative.
She trying to make me go there. She gonna try to break me down. No, she ain't. Jacqueline, you better
I
pull
know.
it back in, trying to get
Right.
us emotional.
Yes,
Okay?
right. No, we're not today. Not tonight.
Dr. V, we ain't letting her pull us in. She almost got me. Almost. Look, almost.
Well, I love the fact that we all have to learn that lies hurt. Mm-hmm. Do you hear what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Lies, ouch, lies hurt. I told you when I read this book, you saved me a lot of work, because I talk about the importance of women preparing themselves for their marriage. Everybody wants to get married, but nobody's putting in the work. And every chapter, everything you said, and then you ended it with one of my favorite words, declutter. How can God bring you the man that you have asked him for it when your heart is already cluttered and full of all the other stuff you haven't released yet? So decluttering is important. And so you ended with declutter your space. Your heart is occupied with stuff. How can he come into your life? And I said to you, Chanelle, that I want to take everything you've done in this book, build it around my workshop, because everything you said in your book is the message that I love to give to women before we even talk about how to get ready for your mate. This is the work that has to be done. I'm going to have your books at every workshop to make sure they understand. If you don't know how to do it, let me tell you what Chanelle said in this book, because that's important. You hit everything. You hit the nail on the head in every point. I can't pick out just one, because I love the end when you said, one of my favorite is activate the power of no. We're talking about saying yes to ourselves all day long. But when you said, but there's one thing you got to remember to do, there's power in your no too. And so understanding when to say no and when to say yes, that's important. So I want you to know that I meant what I said. When I reached out to you and said, we got to figure out a way that when we decide to present a workshop together, that your piece comes first, because this is where the work starts. And if you haven't done that, don't talk to me about wanting to get married, because you're not even presenting the best that man can be. You want the best mate, yes. But look at your list. How many of those points do you fit? You got a list for him, but do you fit all those points too? You better get this book and get yourself together and declutter your heart with all the stuff you've had to go through, with all the hurt and the disappointment, with all the wrong relationships that left you injured and bruised. Declutter and get rid of all that stuff. And I love the fact that declutter is the last point, number 17. So you got all this other work you have to do now that you're here at the end. Now get rid of this mess out of your heart, because what will happen is you'll take what you've experienced and filter this new great match through all this stuff that you've gone through. What crud? You're going to throw all your dirt on him, and he had nothing to do with any of that stuff. So I'm saying to you, it works very well and fits very well with the message I have to give to women in doing the work early, getting rid of the decluttering. So I just want to say bravo to you. I don't know what you thought this was going to be when you started out, but it's so much more than what you thought. It really is. And I'm very appreciative of the fact that you did it.
I want to thank you again. Y'all trying to get me. Okay. All right, Laquita.
You know what? I think everybody has said everything. What I want to say is to sum up the whole book, you have already put the tools in place and lined it up so that we have what you've done is you've given every woman on the planet permission to say yes to themselves and not just go blindly into saying this. Okay, I'm wake up in the morning and say, okay, well, how do I say yes to myself? Well, I don't have to figure out how to say yes to myself. You've lined it up in chapters where you present the story, you personalize your story first, and then you say, okay, here's my story. This is what I did. Here's what you can do. This is my story. Here's what I did. This is what you can do. And you put it right back on the reader. The reader has the responsibility for doing the work. There is no way that we can get out of doing the work. And you've lined it up, like Jacqueline said, you've wrapped it up, you've put it in a bow, and you presented it in a way that it's easy to understand. You know, the Bible was written on a second grade level. So people who say they can't understand the Bible, they don't want to understand the Bible. So you've done the same thing. You've made it simple enough. You've made it easy enough to understand. You've personalized it. So you've given me a sample story so that I can understand, okay, here's my story. I can see, okay, can I relate to this? You've made it relatable. It's relatable. Now, everybody has not experienced the loss of a child, but everybody has experienced loss of some magnitude. It is either a child, a parent, a friend, a pet. Somebody has experienced loss. So here's my story. Here's what I did. Here's what you can do. And at the end of it, here's the declutter. Okay, you've got all these communication, I call them communication noises. You have all these communication noises going on. So here is it at the end of it. Okay, here's this. I would advise to do it twice over. Read the book straight through first, then go through and start doing the work. Because when you get to the declutter, I have to get all the way to the declutter to know that I got to clean up some of this mess before I get here. So if you read the book straight through, then it gives you the instructions. And then, okay, now you know what to expect. So when you get back to the declutter, you've already started cleaning it up. You started cleaning up what you messed up. And sometimes and giving yourself permission to get rid of the toxic stuff that you've allowed to go on. And sometimes things happen in our lives that are no control of our own. And so with She Said Yes, you have given people you've given women, and listen, men can clean up some stuff too. Now, I mean, y'all can go through and read this book too. And then y'all know how to help some folk clean some stuff up. And then when they get ready to get cleaned up, after they clean it up, then they can go through finding the catch with the homework basket. And then they can go through and figure it out. And so, you know, they already got it. And then when they get finished, they can go on over to Takia and have Takia to help them clean it out so they can say it right. And then they'll be able to rise without earthquakes. Mountains can't rise without earthquakes. And then there'll be a woman of virtue over there with Trivia Payne. And then they'll have no walking limitations.
All right.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes.
Did you hear what I said? That's what I'm saying. That's my story.
Hello.
And then when all is said is done, double back over here with me and I can help you publish it.
That's right.
There you go.
So with She Said Yes to Herself anthology, I'm waiting on my copy. I do have the ebook. I'm waiting on my hard copy so I can have, copy so I can write, because it's kind of hard to write on an ebook. I'm just saying. So anywho, that's what I'm saying. And she said yes to herself. So get the book so y'all can have permission to say yes. And I know you smart people are sitting out there saying, I don't need nobody to give me permission to say yes to myself. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people on the row behind you who are hard of listening. So there are people who are hard of listening, and there are some who are hard of understanding. I can be both sometimes. I can be hard of understanding when I don't want to do something. You know, when you don't want to make the change that you need the change, you make all of the excuses. She said yes to herself unapologetically has given you the right to do you without apologies. That's why that you in Jacqueline means unapologetically. Okay, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
First of all, do y'all see why I had to have these amazing women on this show tonight? Do y'all see what was going on? I mean, they are just phenomenal. Yes, Dr. V, there is a workbook that's attached to it, and we're going to be releasing that out pretty soon. In addition to our second book for this book, but also that we have an amazing anthology. But we'll talk about that next time. Before we go, though, I do want to have an opportunity to tell for each woman to tell everybody how to connect with them and what they're currently doing at this time. How can viewers support you? How can they follow along what you're doing? Again, these women are some powerhouses. I'm going to start first with Takia, who is my first editor on this book. Again, Takia, you did an amazing job. Thank you so much for all your hard work and dedication. I truly appreciate it. Please tell viewers how they can connect with you so that if they have some situations they're trying to write, or maybe they're trying to connect with you to find out how to they can become a TEDx speaker too, or how they can just follow you in the journey. Let them know how they can connect with you.
So I'm on Facebook. You can follow me as Takia Gaither or Takia the Teacher. For editing, you can visit thereadywrite-her.com. And for my newest books, they are still available on pre-order. And it's bit.ly/notmyanniversary, because the day of my book launch is actually the day that would be my 5-year anniversary. But I'm not celebrating the anniversary. I'm celebrating the fact that I'm still here and I'm still sane and I'm still alive. So awesome. bit.ly/notmyanniversary, and it has all the things there.
I love it. So don't forget to tune in, guys, on Friday. What time is your book launch?
It is 6 p.m. and I'm still trying to figure out the streaming thing because it's actually live in Baltimore. Nice. But I'm going, more than likely, I'm going to go live from the location. And so people can, see and partake and all that stuff. But yeah,
I'll
6 o'clock Eastern time.
I will definitely be tuned in. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys catch Takia on Friday doing her book launch. Let's give her some support. Let's make sure we buy those books. I love it.
I'm sorry, I missed it. Your book is out. The book is available.
They are on pre-order, and they'll be literally available online on Friday. Okay. So I have it in holding right now.
Because I buy books, girl.
I know you do. I know you do. I will post it as soon as it's ready.
Good. So make sure you guys get Takia's book Friday. Jackie, again, why don't you tell us how people can connect with you, how they can potentially watch your show, come on your show, get some of those amazing graphics that you do and all the phenomenal services that you provide. Tell us how they can connect with you, Jackie.
Well, anybody who want to reach me, you could reach me on Instagram, Spiritual Sunbeam 2020. You could reach me on Facebook under Jacqueline Cox. I'm the one that's verified with the check. I do graphics, I do book covers, I do bookmarks, I do photo edits, and you can cash out $ Young Save Leaders. I'm on every Sunday. I took maybe 5 weeks off, and all the lovely ladies on this panel helped me to co-host while I was gone. I thank you all. I appreciate you all. But I come on every Sunday. Listen, Linda Presents The Waiting Room every Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I have a book that's out already called It Can't Always Be Night, poetic memoirs that I wrote throughout a lot of the journeys and trials in my life, and that's on Amazon. But you can also get a signed copy from youngSaveLeaders.myshopify.com. But if you pre-order my new book that's coming out, Mountains Can't Rise Without Earthquakes, you can get a free copy of It Can't Always Be Night, a free signed copy. So if you cash out $ Young Save Leaders $25, you can get a free signed copy of It Can't Always Be Night. So that's how you can reach me.
So she was all modest and cool on that, like she wasn't bringing it, but her whole poem up in there that says, listen, Linda, it got like a lot of attitude, like, sis, you better listen, like, Put your foot down on this man. That's
I'm
why
in-
I had read it to me. That's how it came across to me. And when she was saying it all meek and timid, I'm like, don't say it with the clapping.
Look, I'm
Clapping
recovering, but
all
you
of
just
that.
give me a week now. See, you be trying to see. I'm trying to change my life, and see you trying to bring out
She
the
trying to be great.
Jackieisms and give people the
She trying to
Jackie
be
juice.
great, Chanelle.
I'm trying to be great. I'm in recovery. You know, y'all know I just
Okay.
had surgery. I'm in recovery. But don't try to bring out the Jackie juice. Because if I give you the Jackie juice, I can't take it back.
I'm here for all of it.
That's why it's a disclosure. Go ahead.
Okay,
Who's talking?
so we are here for it, Jackie. Make
The
sure you guys
powers that be.
Go to Young Save Leaders. Make sure that you pre-order her book, Mountains Cannot Rise Without Earthquakes. I have already pre-ordered my copy. Takia, I'll make sure I get your book on Friday. Make sure that you guys pre-order this book. It is amazing. Some of the excerpts are so powerful. You guys better tune into this book. It is going to be something that's not going to disappoint. So make sure you pre-order. Dr. Velma Bagby. All right, gorgeous. We are ready. Tell me
Come
how
on, we
they
ready
can
for you.
connect with you.
Well, you can connect with me on all of the social media platforms. I'm Dr. Velma Bagby on Instagram, on my Facebook page. I'm Dr. Velma on LinkedIn. I'm also on Twitter. I say Instagram or Instagram. Yeah, all of those. And you can, if you want to reach out to me, reach me at info@drvelma.com. Send me an email. Let me know what you think about what you heard. And if you want to know more about my books, all of my books are available on Amazon. I'm in the process of getting my website updated. So once that's done, just stay connected by any of those other platforms. And I'd love to hear from you. And the last thing I want to say is that a philosopher, Isaac Newton, said, everything that goes up must come down. But in Chanelle's book, I read an excerpt that said that it's time to embrace the beauty of becoming, because I know that God has this resurrected power. He works in things that are down and loves bringing them back up. So I thank you for this book and your message, because that's what you're defying the odds of that philosopher and saying, oh yes, you can come back up.
Amen. I love it. I love it. Now, see, Dr. Velma was real shy with her thing. She didn't come out strong. I'm going to tell you, ladies, she has 49 years in the thick of it. She got the receipts to prove it. Now, if you want to know how not to date a fool, how many of y'all done dated a fool? It been me. Like, Lord, what was I thinking? What was I
And
doing in
married
my
one.
life? If I had read these
I
books
dated a
somehow
few.
sooner, I would have avoided a lot of pitfalls. All right. So, ladies, don't feel like you gotta fall in the ditch. Connect with Dr. Velma. Avoid the ditch. Come away from the ditch. Get the book, and so you can know what the wrong catch is. Right. Make sure you grab her phenomenal book and make sure that you get invited to her master classes. She has some powerful information that she's going to be able to share with you guys. So make sure you connect with her. Now, Miss Hostess, publisher extraordinaire, come through and tell them how they're going to connect with you, Miss Laquita.
So I am you. I have a lot of projects I'm juggling right now. Some amazing projects on the table, including Mountains Can't Rise Without Earthquakes, coming soon. Coming soon. Also, my children's anthology, My Neighbors Don't Look Like Me, coming out soon. Also, I am working on, listen, Affirmations of Beauty Redefined. Hit me up for one of these books.
Yes.
It will definitely bring light to your day.
Yes, it will. That's one of the things that's on my table.
It will bring light to your day. And if you have not ordered your copy of Ouch Lies Hurt, we talk about teaching. It's just helping parents help their children make better choices. That's it. It's a
That's
fun
my
book.
baby
There's a
favorite
song
book.
that goes with it. It's a sing along. You can purchase the book. But you can reach me. Listen, if you have a story, no matter where you are in your story writing journey, I can help you take it from a thought to a realization. You can reach me at www.payprovipublishing.com, PAPROVI publishing.com. I am on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Listen, and if all else fails, you can Google me.
Come on,
I'm the
now.
Laquita Parks that you see. The Laquita Parks who's dealt with 49 years of medical childhood trauma. That's me. A mentor, that's me. A failure to communicate, that's me. Pay-Pro-V Publishing, that's me. The power of your story on Trivia's Inspirational Radio every Tuesday, that's me.
Trying to,
my heart.
why are you trying to take Chanelle Day?
My heart on pages.
Wait a minute. Back up, because you're trying to take Chanelle Day. You can catch Laquita Parks on Thursday.
Did I say Thursday? I thought I said Thursday.
Tuesday.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Tuesday. Listen, I'm sorry, and I have
Who's
to
the
jump.
other Chanelle?
And I am Chanelle. See, we're Chanelle. I'm going into another interview shortly on with Louisa, mastermind. We're talking about some mastermind people. I'm going to try and see how I fit in that pot. So,
if you know her, then you know she.
But anyway, that's my story. 100% of everybody living in there has a story. What's your story? That's mine. I'm sticking to it.
So what she was saying is, if you have a story, right, and you thinking, wait a minute, how am I going to tell this story? How am I going to relate to the masses? How do I get this out? Don't look any further. Just head right on over to payprovpublishing.com today, not tomorrow, today, so that you can connect with this publisher extraordinaire so she can help you get your story out into the world. So make sure you connect with Laquita. Now, I'm going to say this real quick because this other person, I know she ain't finna toot her horn, but I'm finna go ahead and toot it for real. Please. This woman, her name is Dr. T.R.I.V.I.A. Payne. Put some respect on her name. This woman provides a platform that gives voice to so many women and empowerment. This woman is a trailblazer in the city of Baltimore, Maryland. Not only is she doing things in education, but she's giving back to children and families, those who are directly impacted by incarceration rates. She's pouring into the city of Baltimore by caring and really surrounding the youth. This is where mission meets ministry. This woman is phenomenal. She is have given all of us a voice. Jackie, she's given Laquita a voice. She's given me one, and to so many other people. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking for a space to tote your book, your brand, your business, I'm going to tell you, stop right now what you're doing. Head right on over to www.triviasinspirationalradio.com and make sure you get yourself signed up to be on this phenomenal platform. Trivia has so many spaces. She's on every platform imaginable. Each time that I think she has leveled out at something, she's like, no, but wait, there's more. I'm like, there's more? How can there be more? No, she just raises it up another notch. So make sure that you connect with her. If you are a person who has a business or you have a service and you want to push your idea out into the world, connect with her so that she can tote your business or your brand on her platform. Yes, there is a fee, but guess what, honey? You are worth it. You are worth it, right? So you got to go ahead and invest in yourself. So, Dr. T.R.I.V.I.A. Payne, why don't you come on the thing and tell us a little bit about yourself?
You gotta turn it out to the right. Clap, step up and watch God. Step back and watch God. Turn it out to the right.
She just hard-headed.
I'm sorry. We came to the end of the show. I don't have time to speak. I'm sorry.
You literally control the show. You literally control the show.
You said everything. Thank you so much.
Make sure you connect with her, www.triviasinspirationalradio.com, and to connect with the She Said Yes to Herself Unapologetically platform, head on over to www.shesaidyestoherself.com so you guys can go ahead and join this amazing anthology and get connected with these phenomenal women. So Trivia, thanks to you, and everybody have a great, amazing night because we're getting booted off the air. Y'all have a good
Oh, I was just saying my time was up. Your time wasn't up. Y'all went past.
That's so fake, Trivia. That is so fake. But we had a good night.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.